This is to the police of New Jersey, the Hunterdon County Probation Department, the FBI, the candidates of the presidential race, or some of them, and all of the citizens of the United States. I'm going to prove to you that the family courts in this United States are the largest taxpayer-funded child ring ever. Every day, thousands of children lose their fathers and mothers due to false allegations and blatant corruption within the family courts. All of this is ordered by the governors and legislatures of the states. In my case, Judge Matthew Curry told me that he was ordered to keep my child support payment at the unconstitutionally high amount by Governor Chris Christie and the New Jersey State Legislature. The facts in this movie prove this. The judges involved in my case are Judge Hanny Malla, Judge Matthew Curry, and most recently, Judge Bradford Burry. The one thing all of these judges have in common, they were all appointed by Governor Chris Christie. Now, the family laws in New Jersey require judges to do what is in the best interest of the children. After a divorce, they're supposed to make it as much as the same as it was before the divorce as it is after the divorce for the children. They're supposed to work in the best interest of the children. Now look further at what happened in just my case. See, what happens when they do this, it all changes. When you put free money into the equation, things change. You add an unscrupulous lawyer, and now you have a system that abuses children for money. Most Americans never heard of something called Title 4D of the Social Security Act. What is Title 4D? In short, the federal government gives each state $1 for every $1 ordered or collected in child support. So if the states collect the highest possible amount of child support, they in turn rake in the highest amount of free money from the federal government. Now wait, I must be one of those deadbeat dads. Everyone reads about them. Let's take a look at my case and you decide. By the way, this does not just happen to dads, it happens to moms too. Here are the facts of my case. But first, here's in November of 2015, there's an extraordinary lawsuit exposing human rights violations in U.S. courts. Look down here in blue. The lawsuit targets judicial corruption, free speech retributions, and a federal funding scheme known as Title 4D of the Social Security Act. Highly suppressed in public, this law rewards state judges for the number and size of child support orders issued in these courts. Now, I'm going to show you before, it doesn't just happen with Governor Christie. If you remember in the debates, the presidential debates, the Republican presidential debates, the first one, Governor Jeb Bush told people how you'll see. Every day, thousands of children lose their fathers and mothers due to false allegations and blatant corruption in the family courts. In my case, I went from being the primary caregiver to only seeing my children 4 days a month. When my wife first filed for divorce, she asked for shared custody because she told everybody that I was a great father. They called me Father of the Year. Everybody knew I had a gift for children. I want you to listen to this and tell me, can a legitimate judge say that this is actually in the best interest of a child and allow this to continue? This happens every time I have to take my children back to their mothers.
All right, you guys ready? Roads and bridges and infrastructure that need to be fixed. You ready, Bertie? Why are you crying?
Because I don't want to leave.
I'm so sorry. I wish we could work this out. I really do. Write a letter to the judge or something. Maybe, I don't know what else to tell you. Talk to your teachers.
I did once when mom
threw it out. I'm sorry, sweetie. And don't blame your mother. It's not her.
I don't care what she thinks.
I know, sweetie.
It sure seems like her fault.
She's being manipulated by a lawyer, just like this Gates team. He's telling her things that aren't true.
I want you to listen to the second video, and please note that I'll explain later, but just listen to this. And the judge has known all of this, and he does nothing. Oops, I'm sorry. This is only a few seconds.
Shut that door. All right. those things out for a second. I'm going to listen to the music. We're going to use you, but I want you to be really honest with me.
Yeah.
Did Mommy really hit you? Did she hit you?
Yeah.
Where'd she hit you?
In the face.
She slapped you?
Yeah.
Okay. All of the judges know that my wife slapped my daughter in the face because she wanted to spend more time with her father and have done nothing. Judge Matthew Curry, Judge Hanny Malla, all know these facts. Just look at this email, and again, this is all evidence from my trial that Judge Matthew Curry knows about. Here's an email from my wife to me saying that she ordered balloons so I could decorate my children's class for St. Patrick's Day. I just want you to look how she signed this. I love you, Mr. Mom. You'll see from the evidence I was a stay-at-home father. I worked part-time, I made a little bit of money, but I was there for my children before school, after school, every day during the summer. I was typically a stay-at-home mom, or what you might call, but I was the father because I have a tremendous gift with children. This is an actual sworn certification from one of my wife's friends at the time. I do not recall the exact tape, but in 2009, I believe I met with, I'm going to use my name of Jack Roberts just to protect my children. I met with Ms. Roberts at the Starbucks in our local town in New Jersey. And during our conversation, I recall her stating something like, I am the breadwinner and Jack stays at home with the kids. I did not think anything of it at the time as it made sense because it was Jack who had the kids whenever he had play dates. I saw Jack at various school functions, and Jack was the one picking the children up after school. Mr. Roberts is a wonderful father and loves his children, and the children are always very comfortable with Mr. Roberts. They're always appropriately dressed and well-mannered with their father. This is another sworn certification that judge knows about that was sent to us, all the judges know about, from our school crossing guard. I've been a school crossing guard in our township for 28 years. I'm familiar with the children as I witnessed Mr. Roberts walking his children to and from school during the 2008-9 and 2009-10 school years when my children were in elementary school. I observed Mr. Roberts and the children almost every school day. Ms. Roberts was rarely with Mr. Roberts and the children. During the 2010-2011 school year through early March 2011, I observed Mr. Roberts walking with the children to and from approximately one half of those school days. You see, that was after my wife filed for divorce. She started taking my children to and from school a little bit more. Mr. Roberts is a wonderful father and loves his children. The children are very comfortable with Mr. Roberts. They're always appropriately dressed and well-mannered. They were always very happy walking to and from school with their dad. Here's another sworn certification, and this person also testified in my trial before Judge Matthew Curry. I lived in the same neighborhood where Mr. and Mrs. Roberts previously resided with their children. I have known the family since the fall of 2009. I'm fully familiar with the facts herein. I observed Mr. Roberts to be the primary caretaker of the children, while Ms. Roberts was at work. I am a teacher, so I do not work during the summer and was home after school. I clearly remember the day I first met Mr. Roberts. One day after school, the kids were riding their bikes around their street, and every time they passed Mr. Roberts, he asked them a geography question. That one act and the many to follow showed what a great father he is. He often walked to school with my daughter and wife along with his son and daughter. He would bring his son home after as he was in afternoon kindergarten. During the summer of 2010, Mr. Roberts and I engaged in many activities with our children, such as swimming, bike riding, playing wiffle ball, and many other activities. We spent a week vacationing in Point Pleasant in New Jersey in the summer of 2010. Ms. Roberts could not come as she worked while Mr. Roberts watched the kids. Mr. Roberts is an excellent father. He's kind and loving toward the children. He's very aware of their needs and parenting them in an appropriate manner. In my opinion, the children are more attached to Mr. Roberts than Ms. Roberts. Here's another sworn certification of one of my wife and ours friends. Again, all the judges have seen this and they know this. To the Honorable Judge Matthew Curry. Dear Judge Curry, we have known both my children since our sons were in T-ball together 4 years ago. And this was written in June of 2014. Bob coached an opposing team and was such an enthusiastic coach. Always positive and always making sure all of the children are having fun while teaching them the fundamentals of the game. We then met Ms. Roberts about 3 years ago when our sons made the travel baseball team. During that time, our children have become very good friends, especially our daughters. The travel team has been together for 3 years now. They are not just a baseball team, but have become a second family to most. Jack has been very supportive and proud of not only his son, but of all the boys. He's their biggest cheerleader. Knowing my son suffers from anxiety, Jack is always the first to get him to relax and laugh before a game. He always makes an effort post-game to seek out my son and compliment him on how he played the game. We are all aware of the ongoing divorce proceedings going on between the Roberts, but never in all this time did Jack ever mention a negative word about his wife, or nor did we ever witness anything but positive support for his children. He may have been down about what was going on, but he never showed up without a smile. Jack is in attendance for most games, but he's always respectful of the limitations set forth by the courts when it's not his turn to have the kids. He's still there to give a hug or a high five to his son before and after the game, and loves when his daughter stops by in her travels with the other sisters to give him a kiss on the cheek or to tell him a story about what happened at school. When he can't be at the game, he follows the game online. Because this baseball team has become very, very close, we have seen Jack socially outside of the games on many occasions. He would be the first to organize a pool or a yard game with all the kids. He'd pump up a boy, maybe, who didn't have the best game earlier in the day, or just simply tell some funny stories to make them all laugh. Also, during the past 3 years in particular, we observed Jack being a warm and supportive father to both his children, son and daughter, and no matter whatever they chose to do. It could have been a sporting event, or a talent show, or just simply challenging them academically, maybe with brain teasers or mental math. We were actually at lunch one day in between a doubleheader, and he had both his kids and ours doing fun math problems in their heads. All of the kids were enjoying the competition and couldn't wait to be their turn. He shows up to the events nothing short of being a proud, beaming father. Over Memorial Day weekend, Jack took his daughter and our daughter overnight to Pennsylvania to his sister's house while we had his son overnight. That Sunday morning, while we were getting ready to come back in New Jersey, his daughter was extremely sad, and she told our daughter and us that she knew that in a few hours she wouldn't get to spend time with her dad again for another 2 weeks. We feel that his children are very fortunate to have such a loving father in their lives, and they signed it. Once again, Judge Matthew Curry ignored this. Just so you know, I had over 20 people from my township write letters to the judge telling them, please, he needs something, and he threw them all out. They don't care. This doesn't just happen a couple years ago. This happens to this day. I just got this email on January 6th of 2016. Hi, Mr. Roberts. Your son shared with me that you routinely do math problems while you're in the car. I wanted to say thank you. You are helping your son, and he's doing great. Sincerely, his 6th grade math teacher. Here's another letter, and this is a letter from one of the top family lawyers. I'm going to protect her name because I don't know what's going to happen with this movie. But again, this was to this school. You'll see the letter, but the judges know this, and they know that this person is a top family lawyer, which means she's an officer of the court who cannot just send lies like this, cannot make things up. Let's look at this letter. Please accept this letter on behalf of Mr. Roberts. I understand you are the court-appointed custody and parenting time evaluator in his pending divorce action. I have known Jack for a long time. We met in the summer of 1986 at a lake in our hometown. It was actually Wayne, New Jersey, the town where we both grew up. The following summer, in July 1987, we began dating and eventually married in 1994. We divorced in 1999, but have remained friends, speaking on holidays and birthdays and occasionally in between. He and his family, his wife, son and daughter, and his mom and dad attended my daughter's first birthday party in September of 2006. When I was 15 years old, I was obtaining my lifeguard certification. Jack was my instructor. He was not at all your ordinary instructor. He was fun and funny, doing all he could do to connect with the cast through jokes and his vibrant personality. While he took his job seriously, he made an extra effort to make the course as enjoyable as possible. The following summer, we worked together at our town lake. I was the recreation director, and my job was to schedule activities throughout the day for the children. Jack was assistant director at the park. While he was responsible for the daily operations of the entire park, you would always find him doing my job, interacting with the kids and making sandcastles and playing ping pong or basketball or any other game he could to engage them. He was always with the kids, laughing and having fun. Jack loves football, especially college football. This passion led him to coach football at our local high school. He was the head freshman coach. Again, all the kids loved him, as did the parents. He certainly did not do this for the money. I think he earned 7 cents an hour. He did it for the love of the game and to help kids grow and mature and to develop character. He coached my younger brother and instilled a tremendous work ethic and sense of attention, character and responsibility that my brother never had before. Jack's commitment and attention were part of the reason my brother received a full football scholarship to a school in North Carolina. Jack clearly touched my brother's life for the better. Now, when I got into law school, we had to move to Michigan as that is where our school was located. Without hesitation, Jack packed up our belongings and our car and took me to follow my dream of becoming an attorney. Without his daily support during that time, there's no way I would be an attorney today. While our marriage did not endure, our friendship did. I could always count on Jack or his family if I ever needed anything. His family, especially his parents, were my surrogate parents during my senior year of high school and my college days. Jack was raised by a wonderful mother and father and is the youngest child with 3 older sisters. His close-knit family is warm and welcoming. Jack was always great with all of my nieces and nephews and all of his. He was always the favorite uncle in both my family and his family. I have seen Jack with his children at my daughter's party. I've seen him at the shore, as well as a coincidental meeting at a local farm in New Jersey. I watched how Jack interacted with his kids and how his children interacted with him. Their smiles and their joy expressed were palpable. Jack always wanted children. More importantly, Jack always wanted to be a father. I think his children have hit the jackpot in having Jack as his father. He is patient and kind and devoted. When I spoke to Jack while he was married to his wife, he was so happy to be a stay-at-home dad. When I met his wife at my daughter's birthday party, she told me how successful she was at the pharmaceutical company she works and the important role that Jack played at home for the kids. Jack is a gift for children, and more importantly to his children. It is my hope that Jack and his wife can figure out how to resolve the ongoing conflict over parenting time. If not, I hope your recommendations will be in line with the reality of what this family looked like while intact and provide sufficient parenting time to Jack. And then she said, signed it. They're supposed to try to keep the children in line of what they had before. But Judge Matthew Curry, for some reason, ignored that. And now we know why. Look at our backgrounds. My wife came from a broken home. She's a recovering alcoholic. She has 3 siblings. 2 have children from different partners, and none of those 2 are married to any of the children's fathers. The 3rd has a child and is not married to the father. We were in counseling right before she filed for divorce. The counselor, we were in marriage counseling, and the counselor had to stop. They told us, I cannot continue counseling with you until we work out my wife's problems. The counselor, my wife came back, continued one-on-one, and she came back telling the counselor wanted to put her on medication. She didn't go on medication. Instead, she filed for divorce. My parents have been married for over 50 years. My dad died of pancreatic cancer, and my mom died less than a year and a half later. She was perfectly healthy. Most say she died from a broken heart. All 3 of my siblings are married to their spouses for over 20 years, and 2 of them are grandmothers. I've made over 20 reasonable offers, including watching my children whenever my wife is at work. All of them were denied. Judge Matthew Curry denied my right of first refusal. The only reason they were able to prove is that I was a Christian. I'm not a radical Christian. I have friends who are Catholic and Baptist and Lutheran. I have friends who are Jewish. I have dear friends who are atheists and Muslim. I mean, this is insane. Why would he do this? Why would he force me to pay money so my wife could pay other people to watch my children instead of allowing them to be with their father like they had before? Here's some actual text messages from my daughter. She wrote, I know mom doesn't care about me because sharing is caring and she isn't sharing. Tell the truth. God will reward you for it. Trust him. So keep doing what you're doing. I replied back, well, you better get some rest because you're a student and an athlete. I told her, pray for mommy, daddy, and the judge that he does what's best for you and your brother. She replied, okay, I just needed to talk to the best dad on earth. Nothing will ever change that. Good night, sweetie. I love you the most. I love you so much. Good night, Daddy. Good night, sweetie. I love you the most. This just happened, and the judges know that they're being locked home alone instead of being allowed to be with their father. How are you feeling? I'm feeling sick. Is mom home with you? No. Did you take some vitamin C? I just woke up. Well, please take care of yourself. You must be pretty sick to miss volleyball. Mom just took away my birthday party for talking to you. Again, please don't blame my spouse. She has been manipulated by an unscrupulous lawyer named Patricia Garrity Smith, and I approve that in this video as well. She's a good person. She loves her children. She just needs some counseling. Where are you? Another text from my daughter. Home. Why can't you plug it in? I don't know. Is your mom home with you? No. What are you doing? Nothing, but mom will punish me for talking to you, and I'm really scared she will. She took away her birthday party. She slapped her in the face. She's afraid of her mother, and this is not a good situation for any child to be in. Dad, it's so embarrassing. Mom just left me here alone. She left her? What? Where did she go? She left. I don't know where. She was in the middle of a volleyball tournament, and she just left her there. I stayed with the phone and made sure she was okay till finally she did show up. Here's another message where she said, dang, cannot talk because mom's here. No worries, we have the weekend coming up. Again, the judge knows this goes on and does not do a thing. Hi, sweetie. I'm sorry you left home all by yourself and your mother won't let me pick you up to go swimming. Again, she's locked up home alone when she could be with her father, but the judge says this is good parent in the best interest of a child? It's okay. I love you so very much, and so does your mother. Always remember that. I never say a bad thing. I always try to get the children to know that their mother loves them. I tried to call you, but the service here stinks. My daughter replied, darn, where's your mom? She's at the gym. And you and brother are left home alone? Yes. I love you the most. Nah, she replies, I love you the most. Again, instead of allowing the children to be with me, they locked up home alone. And the judge, Matthew Curry, and all of them know this. Here's another text message. Why won't your mom let you play with that girl so-and-so from Princeton? I don't know. She doesn't like her dad. My wife had some problems growing up. As you saw, she just cannot have a relationship with a male. No one in her family can. Okay, sorry. It looks like you're dropping in rankings again. My daughter was ranked nationally for beach volleyball. I love you the most. Now, my daughter keeps believing that this judge is going to follow the law and allow her to spend equal time or at least more time with her father and let me coach her in volleyball. But he denies it. It's fine. Next year I'll be the number one team next year. That's what she thought. She's going to be the number one because she believes that this judge will allow her. He did not. Here's another thing. Mom said you can't come at 2. You have to come at 4 because she has something out. So she is leaving you home alone again? Yes. Meaning on my days, instead of letting me take my children, I'm not allowed to see them. Again, they're home locked alone, and Judge Matthew Curry, on orders from Chris Christie, ignored this. Here's an actual incident that came up with me. A boy's father spoke to me today, and this is a text message that I sent to my wife. He said that our son said some pretty mean things to his son about not being very good and such forth. I tried to talk to our son about it. I wanted to see him face to face, but you again refused to let me. I don't know what's going on. You told me about a bullying incident, and I never heard anything about it. And now I hear this. I have some concerns. I would like to speak to her son. Please have him call me. Now, my wife told me about a bullying incident my son was involved with. He never had this when I was the father, the stay-at-home father. But again, think about this. Now he sees me coaching other kids, and he's not allowed to be with his father, who he begs this judge to let him spend more time with, and they refuse. No wonder these kids are getting into trouble with bullying incidents. My daughter has a phone, and I didn't agree with it, but her mother bought my kids both cell phones at the age of, I think it was 8 and 6. I said to him, that's fine, but I'm going to make a rule with you kids. Whenever you're with me, I have the option to look at your phones anytime I want, just so you know that. And this was just recently. I found this on my daughter's Instagram account. My dad, my hero, she posted to her friends. This little girl posted this picture. I was told I can't see my dad today. Not all abuse is physical. How could a judge do this? Because he was ordered to. This is another. My daughter's begging for help to her friends. I cannot this is my daughter's Instagram account. I cannot sit back and let this happen to me and thousands of other sons and daughters. The family court system is corrupt, and it has taken a toll on my childhood. I'm just glad God is on my side. He has given me the strength to get through this. It has been 5 years, 2 trials, 7 motions, 4 appeals, 2 broken hearts, and this roller coaster still hasn't stopped. Their friends replied back, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The judge knows this and does nothing. He's guilty of child abuse. I don't care if he was ordered to do this. It's got to stop. Her friends told her, you should start an Instagram about dads and fathers and the fact that you need more time with their children. You know, just a thought. Thanks. It really is a sweet idea. It means a lot that you care, she replied back to her friend. And these judges and everybody knows this, that after a divorce, all the studies show that shared parenting is important. It's important for the children. I never wanted sole custody. I want to share my children. Even though I was the primary caregiver, I know the studies say they need to be with both parents as much as possible. Joint custody may be the best option. This was back in 2002. These judges know this. Chris Christie knew this, but look what because he has to balance his budget, he ignored these children. They used to think going back and forth between mom and dads on weekends was a hassle of some divorced children, but it might be the best for them in the long runs. The divorce arrangement that stresses kids out the most, what they found out in a study in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health is that the children fare better when they spend time living with both parents. The judges ignore this based on orders from the legislature so they can balance their budgets. People, please help me. My daughters need their dads. I mean, there's many, many stories about this. To my Catholic friends, listen to your Pope, please. The National Parents Order welcomes some stunning news from the Council of Italian Bishops. That article urges family courts to not only state support for shared parenting, but to also ensure the arrangement actually occurs in practice. The article was supportive of legislative efforts to encourage shared parenting. Now, the church observers know that they would never ever publish anything known to contradict the views of the Pope on such a sensitive subject. The Pope says shared parenting is needed. The UN believes keeping parents away and alienation is child abuse. But nobody cares. We're killing children. We're destroying them. We're mentally abusing these children. What do you think is going to happen to all these children who have their parents ripped from their lives? Well, let's look at that. What do all mass shooters have in common? No father in the home. We're creating the mass shooters. Look at this. Look at the facts. This is going on. Everybody knows this. When you rip a father or a mother out of a home, it abuses and hurts the children. Look at the 11 common traits of mass murderers. Look at number 8. A lot of serial killers come from dysfunctional families with an absent father. My children, look at what happened. My children have had their father ripped out of their lives. And everybody who knows me says I am a gift to my children. They saw their father lose their business. They saw their father evicted from his house. They saw their father lose his jobs because of the corruption. They saw their father being locked up in jail on 2 occasions. They know that their father can now no longer afford to see them because of this injustice by the courts. The courts would not allow their father to coach them, even though they told the judge they wanted their father to coach them and spend more time with them. They asked and pleaded with the judge to please let them spend more time with their father, but he refused. They know that their father may soon go to jail or be shot and killed. They shoot fathers who have child support. They know their father begged for help from her government and nobody lifted a finger. And we wonder why kids grow up and shoot up a school or shoot up their mother or blow up a courtroom. At our case settlement conference in 2014, the judge gave us written instructions to both my wife's attorney and I to exchange evidence 5 days prior to our pretrial conference or face a penalty. I complied. Her lawyer, Miss Patricia Garrity Smits of Lebanon, New Jersey, ignored his order, simply did not comply. The judge did not penalize her. She allowed her to keep and study my evidence for 20 days before her handing her evidence over to me. This is a crime right there. FYI, even though I would get limited custody, I agreed to the settlement that the two old lawyers suggested was fair. Pat Smits turned down every offer, they said. By the way, the judge instructed one of these attorneys to come out and tell me, and I quote them, "We don't mean to sound callous, but we do not care about your children." Here's the actual letter from Judge Matthew Curry telling us about our trial. Our trial has been scheduled, okay? The assigned trial judge will conduct a pre-trial conference on May 12th, 2014. You must advise the trial judge any vacation scheduled for both you and your client. Now, 5 days before this pre-trial conference, you must provide your adversary and the court with the following: our updated case information sheet, some stipulations, all the exhibits, all the exhibits that we're going to use in our trial, and we must be prepared to mark our exhibits at the end of the conference. And we must bring in a copy for the opposing counsel, an original court for everything that they told us. I complied. She didn't. Failure to comply with the aforementioned requirements shall result in the appropriate monetary sanctions against the party who has not complied. Again, I complied. He allowed her to keep and study my evidence package for 20 days before she was required to give her evidence over to me. These judges and this lawyer should be sanctioned and disbarred. Just remember this. Look at this. Your matter will remain on call for the remainder of that week and for the following week. Please advise the parties and any witnesses that they must be prepared to proceed at any time in that 2-week period. If your matter is reached for trial, you'll be expected to proceed at a continuous basis until the trial is completed. Okay? So I had all my witnesses, 18 witnesses, ready to go. We got to court that day, and it did not happen. As soon as my witnesses started coming in, he changed everything. He said, we're going to go just one day today, and then in a month and a half, we're going to go for another day. Another month, we'll go for 2 days, and they continued that on until February of 2015. That's when my trial ended. It is now February 2016, and he has refused to even issue a verdict. I've been paying, you'll see what's happening in a few moments. But again, to put that in perspective, the entire O.J. Simpson murder trial, from jury selection in October to the trial starting in January, took less time to render a verdict than to my judge to render a verdict after the trial, just to give an answer. The entire trial took longer. Just for my judge to give an answer took longer than the entire O.J. Simpson trial and verdict. And this is in the best interest of the children, or is he ordered to do this by the governor and the state legislature? So how does this happen? It all starts with a federal funding scheme called Title 4D. You add in an unscrupulous lawyer and you get a fake restraining order. And that's how it happens. I have a final restraining order against me. My wife attacked me in the middle of the night, causing bruising to my face. I was taught never to hit a woman. I stopped her from hitting me, and I went to the bathroom to stop my nose from bleeding. She called the police. I was removed from the home as the police told me. She called 911 first. Here's my face. They saw this at pictures. Prior to this incident, she did take my children to the police before. On Sunday, September 26, 2010, she responded to the headquarters with her 2 children. She had several questions about her pending divorce and the resources available to her if she felt the need to take the children and leave the residence she currently shares with her husband. Now, my wife told me when she is a recovering alcoholic and she sponsors people at a local women's shelter. She told me, she goes, at one time, she goes, if anything ever happens, I know how to get custody out of the kids and the house. And that she knew exactly how to manipulate the system. If you look here, but she reported that she came to the police department for advice and stated there has never been any threats of violence between her and her husband. During the domestic violence trial, 2 police officers testified that I was the one with marks and that my wife did not have a single mark on her. Her story made absolutely no logical sense. But she said those 3 magic words that she was coached to say by her lawyer, I feel threatened. And automatically the final restraining order was issued and I lose my kids. I also told the court that, I told the judge that I have copies of court recordings that show my wife's attorney bold-faced lied at various court proceedings. The Judge Matthew Curry, who again was appointed by Governor Chris Christie, stated, and I quote, I do not care. My kids are forced to stay at home alone. To this day, all I want is shared custody and to be with my kids instead of forcing them to be alone or with babysitters. Every time it's time for them to leave their 2-day visit, this happens. They start bawling their eyes out and they want to spend more time with their father and don't know why. Judges will say that if a parent does not have a nice home for the children to live in, that is a very important factor on allowing more visitation with their children. Now, this is how the courts will destroy the life of a good parent, whether it be a man or a woman, and force them out of a good home in order to deny shared parenting and create a profit for the state. Here's an actual paycheck from 2015. My wife makes $120,000 a year. I was ordered to have I lost my children because of this. My draw every 2 weeks was $770. Okay. Out of that, I pay my taxes. And then after I pay the taxes, they also take my child support out. Every 2 weeks, it was $432 taken out of my paycheck, leaving me with a net pay of $207. That's a little like $105 a week. Judge Matthew Curry says this is more than enough for me to live on. Really? Can any human being actually believe this? Here's actually my hour. This is one thing, another lie that I proved. If you notice, this is my actual Social Security earnings. If you look at 2009, it said I had $150,000. Miss Smits, knowing that this was not true, because if you look at 2008, it was 0, 2007. My wife told Miss Smits, and she sworn statement that what happened was I was with a startup where I got a loan twice a month for 3 years. Because this was all happened during the recession. I lost my job. I was a stay-at-home dad. I got a part-time job working from home so I could be with the children. This all ended in 2009. We came to an agreement. So 2009 was 3 years of income rolled into one. My wife, the judge knew that, and Miss Smits told this judge that told a different judge, Judge Hanny Malla, that this was 1 year's worth of income. He said that I should be making $250,000, and that's what he based my child support on. And they knew this. Here's an actual email back in 2009 or back in 2010 when we were trying to settle this. And this went to my wife as well. And here's the mutual release agreement. So she has a copy of it. She actually hired this lawyer who helped me settle this agreement and to get this all taken care of. Because we had to figure out our taxes, because I'm not a cheat. I wanted to pay my taxes. Here's the agreement, okay? Where that the parties entered into a business agreement in 2007, and I rendered professional services to them for 2007, 2008, and 2009. The judges knew this, but they refused to change my child support to the legal amount. Why? Because the state needs to balance their budget, and they were ordered to by our governor, Chris Christie, and the legislature. They told you about that. Basically, what they do is they give me a loan. For in 2008, they were giving me this loan. I had a special master who knew this and understood this and told the judge that this is what happened. But he ignored the facts and forced me to continue to pay this ridiculous amount, and I lose my children. I have to pay my wife $1,800 a month. I could only afford $800. I go into arrears $1,000 every month, and they send things up to put me in jail for this. I've been incarcerated twice. And it's not a fun. I'm not going to jail anymore. I'm not. I'm going to fight back. I'm telling you, don't arrest me because you don't listen to judges anymore, people. Please listen to the facts. So look at this. This is actually my wife's. In 2013, she was making almost $120,000, but the judge refuses to lift a finger to change a thing. This is the actual law and the guidelines. I said, fine, let me make it at $40,000. Let's make her at $100,000. And let's do this. I should be paying her $21 a week. But see, they don't want that. They want me to be paying her $700 a week or $500 because that's how they get more money for the state. They ignore their own guidelines and rules. And what they do is if you want to get help, they give you fake phone numbers. Look at this. Look at this number here, 708-788-11. I tried 1100, everything. There's no way. They gave me another number, and it's fake. It doesn't work. Here's an actual letter that they sent me. They told me I have until August. They sent it. Look at the date here. You can't really see it, but it says July 7th, 2002. I got this letter, and I could give you a better picture. If any FBI or agent now shows you that I got this letter on Saturday, August 8th, 6 days past the deadline to help get my child support reduced. They know what they're doing, but they destroy people's lives, and nobody seems to care. Bradford Bury, another judge appointed by Judge Matthew Curry. I tried to make a motion just to give me some money so I won't lose my job because see what happens. I lost my license. They don't tell you. I got pulled over by a police officer in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, and then I lose my license, and then I have to pay restoration fees of $250. I'm living on $100 a week, trying to see my kids. I cannot afford to pay the restoration fee or my insurance, and I begged them. They have what's called a quadro. One judge gave me half of my wife's half of my wife's 401k. It's an account held by Miss Patricia Garrity Smits. It started out at $50,000, but they've been taking it. I asked for a fee waiver, Judge Bradford Bury, so I could get a little bit money and to maybe get my child support reduced. He denied it. If you don't have money, you're not entitled to justice. This is a little note that my dad wrote about me. This is what my son wrote about me. Dad is awesome, nice, funny, happy, goofy, my favorite. My dad is not only a great dad, but he is one of the best coaches on this side of the earth. And me and my sister thinks every athlete needs my dad coaching. One of his 6 stories, I don't want to mention a little boy's name. And that's not all. My dad helped some people get their dream, a scholarship. Also, he taught my friend to be one of the best flag footballs in the league. And that's why my dad is the best one in the world. P.S. I can't even count how many thank you he gets. I coached for a long time, and my mentor, did a lot of work to get kids scholarships. And when we're walking around town in my hometown, people would often come up to me with my son and tell him, hey, they remember me, and they would tell him how great his dad was. Everybody knows this, but this judge does nothing. I want you to look at something. It's not just me. This is happening everywhere. This is a thing that a screencast I took on Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016. This was a question asked for Republican candidates. The number one question, would you support Social Security, Title 4D, and family law reform? No one, it's never once been mentioned in any of the debates. And it's not just Republicans who are ignoring this. Look at the Democrat candidates. The number 2 question, do you support a presumption of equal parental fitness regardless of gender being enshrined in law in accordance with the 14th Amendment? People are being destroyed throughout this country, and our politicians ignore it. Supposedly on February 3rd, 2016, this happened. I haven't been able to prove this. This was supposedly the first presidential candidate to address the Title 4D of the Social Security Act and family law reform is Chris Christie. Now, he knows I've gone to the FBI. So he was asked, would you support the Social Security Title 4D reform and family law reform? He responded, I support families and dual parenting. Really? I believe no parent should be prevented from seeing their child due to a perverse incentive for the states. Look at the judges that he appointed. If this incentive is in fact having an effect on parental rights, I would certainly address the issue while reforming Social Security. In New Jersey, I signed alimony reform in 2014 to bring fairness to the system for all those involved. I would bring that same consideration to Social Security, 4D, and family law as president. He hasn't done it in New Jersey. For 6 years he's known about this, and he's ignored my pleas. If he did say this, he's a bold-faced liar. Governor Christie's not alone. Did anyone watch the first Republican presidential debate? Again, Governor Jeb Bush stated how he improved Florida fiscally. But he also stated how he increased the amount of child support collected because that's how they balance their budgets. Anybody, please, is there not a legitimate politician or anybody in our government to help? How about Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina? You're not in this system. Can you please help me? What am I supposed to do? To the police and probation department, they're soon going to arrest me. I'm losing my license on February 5th. I'm soon to be homeless. I tried to go through the legal process, but I've been denied. Judge Burry ruled if I can't afford the filing fee, I'm not entitled to justice. Again, he was appointed by Chris Christie. The system sends me notifications after the deadlines and provides phone numbers that do not work. Please, I do not expect any politician to do a thing. I'm losing my children and will be going to jail. My kids are losing a good father. They're going to end up hating their mother and blaming her. I'm being forced to take the law into my own hands. Please help me. What do I have to do? Be like the people in Oregon and take over something? To my wife, I forgive you for everything you've done. I know it's not your fault. I pray you get more counseling. Just don't ever hit our children again. If you could please help, you could buy this movie right on here for any price that you could afford. Thank you. God bless. I love you, my kids. And remember, I always fought to protect you. Please, everybody, if you see this movie, if you watched it to the end, please share this link. PleaseHelpMyChildren.Info to every news station, newspaper, church, and every single person you know. To the probation department, police department, do you really believe I'm a deadbeat dad who deserves jail? You took an oath to protect and serve and to protect the Constitution. Yes, your judges have judicial immunity, but you can disobey their orders. Don't be like the Nazi soldiers and just blindly follow their orders. Protect the children. Please help.